What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video, and today we're here because we need to discuss The Crew 2. Now, this was actually announced a while ago. I was just really busy when the news came out, so I didn't get a chance to make a video on it. Today we're going to be talking about the live summit. So this is something which is being added in a few weeks. I actually don't know. They announced this a month ago. They announced it so long ago, but the update's going to take a month to actually get involved. It's really weird, but they announced this around a month ago, basically saying that live summit is going to be coming, or just summit mode is going to be coming with the next patch. Again, no clue why they did this like so early, because like they announced it, they have to now wait a month, and then now we finally see it. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It would have made more sense if they maybe a week or two before the patch is actually going to come out, then they say, oh look, we've got this patch coming out, because I feel like the hype's kind of died down a bit when realistically now people should be talking about it. But today we're not going to be talking about my pet peeves with how they announce things. We're actually going to be talking about like how big this is, because it's one of those things when I saw this update for the first time in a very long time, I actually decided to boot up The Crew 2, play a bit of The Crew 2, and it actually has me excited for what is to come. And I was meaning to make a video on this earlier, but I just had recording problems basically. So now today, we're going to discuss Live Summit, my opinions on it. Is The Crew 2 saved with the introduction of this feature? That's the kind of the topic of discussion for today's video. So let's go ahead and get into it. So you guys know how this works. The summit is basically a weekly competition where you guys gain points. The higher you place in certain events, the more chance you have of getting that platinum spot, and when you have the platinum spot, you get better rewards. It is honestly one of the best things about the original Crew for me. Well, at least the Wild Run, the expansion, it was one of the most, you know, important features to that game. One of the things that made me play it for so long alongside the PvP in that game. And it's one of those things that I can genuinely see myself coming back to The Crew 2 when it finally gets this summit feature. It's something which should have been in the game on day one, and I'm gonna stand by that. It's literally, the whole game is a game based around the summit, but they didn't have a summit on launch. It's just really weird. It's something which should have been there on day one, but nevertheless, I am really excited for it to come round. And in addition to that, we're also going to be getting transforming races. So you guys will remember in the main story, there was like these boss missions where you'd start off in a car, then you go into a rally car, then you go into a plane. Those are also going to feature in the summit events, which is really, really cool, because we haven't got many of these as a whole. As well as that, we're also going to be seeing your normal, you know, other game modes like escape, you know, aerobatics, speed traps, just drift, street racing, etc. And the normal ranking system of bronze, silver, gold, and platinum is still going to return. Now, it has everything it needs to have to sound perfect, but I am going into this cautiously optimistic. What are the rewards? I'm just scrolling through the article now. It has been a while since I've watched the stream, I'm not going to lie, guys, but I can't see any PvP in the summit, which is really weird, because that was like one of the big things for me in the last summit. I might be wrong on that, and I'm not gonna like just say that is definitely a thing, but if that isn't in there, that leaves me a little bit disappointed. One thing which is really cool is that you will be getting an exclusive vehicle if you place in a platinum place at the end of every month. So the end of every month, there'll be a live summit where you can earn a vehicle. So I remember, for example, in the Crew 1, there was an F40 which I grinded for. I think it was an F40 at least. So I'm really excited to see that. It's going to give you something to work towards. These are the types of things they need to be implementing more often. I like to think of this kind of the Crew summit mode as a bit more hardcore. It's kind of for the more hardcore guys. So things like the car levels, that is going to be taken into effect in this mode. It's not going to be one of those modes where everything gets upgraded and everything's on an even playing field. If you don't have a maxed out car, or with all gold parts, you are going to be at a disadvantage. And honestly, I like that. In PvP, you've got the option to either do it with or without. I think in something as competitive as the summit, it shouldn't be that way. And again, like I said, I can see myself hopping back on it now to upgrade certain cars to make sure they are all gold. Because to be honest, it really isn't that hard to do that anyway. So that's something that I can see myself doing. My only pet peeve, I've kind of just like skimmed through the article again as I'm recording. My only pet peeve, and it really is a pet peeve, still has to do with car balancing. I really don't want this to become a thing where to become platinum in street racing, you have to use a bike like an MV Augusta or a Huracan or something. That's just not really where I want this to be. If it's one of those things where you have to use OP combinations to do well, it's just going to take a lot away from me, and it's something which hasn't been solved since day one. It's really weird. The MV Augusta and the Huracan were OP in the beta, and they still haven't really been fixed, at least to my knowledge. So that's something which I can see myself being a bit annoyed by. Other than that, a few of the actual races and classes will have restrictions on. So for example, in this little screenshot you can see that the air race has a specific aeroplane that is tied to that event, as does the powerboat racing and the Alpha GP stuff. There's specific restrictions, so that means you're going to need to buy those cars if you then want to go and participate in those events, which is again something I really like the fact of. Adds more progression, gives cars more worth, makes more sense to actually buy these vehicles. And if you already own them, great, no problem. And it's not really a problem for those that don't own those vehicles, because there's plenty of other events you can do that have no restrictions. It's looking promising, but I don't want to say it's saved yet because we haven't played it yet. Reserve your judgment for, you know, next week, I believe. I think it's next week. April 23rd. That's when the launch live stream is. That is literally, that's next Tuesday. So not the Tuesday coming up, the following Tuesday, 23rd of April. Keep your judgment for then. We've still got a while to wait. Again, I don't know why they've announced it so early and then given us this like long period of nothingness. But I'm really excited to see what this is all about. I'm cautiously optimistic, and this is a reason for me to come back to the Crew 2, just like it was a reason for me to come back in the Crew 1 when they implemented it in the Wild Room. So that's been it from me today. I'm not going to ramble on for too much longer. Let me know what you think about, you know, this whole thing. Do you think it's saved? I'll probably put a card up here so like everyone can just kind of vote right there. But I'm interested to hear what you guys have got to say about it. We'll wait and see. I know there was a little beta thing for this, a closed beta thing. I didn't get into it, but I know that certain people were invited to beta test this early. So, you know, let us know what's going on. I think there's an NDA under it. So there is an NDA, don't tell me, because that's illegal. But, yeah, I'm interested to see what's going on. Anyway, that's been it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe, and peace.